This is PNRShow Season 2, Episode 21.
I'd rather have lucker than lie. I'll take a strong stout over stride. I prefer to confer with a half pint of ale and nibble on life till my private parts fail. For life without liquor is to no avail. So bring me lucker for life. I'd rather have lucker.
From a deep, dark, rarely used corner of the interwebs, it's the Pint of No Return show, where we, your humble hosts, take a beer, sit back, relax, and shoot the bull. Welcome to episode 21, season 2.
21!
This season is now old enough to drink.
Finally.
Hey!
Damn time.
Tonight we are joined by Keith and Jeremy and myself, Rob. We're without Gary this evening as he is off to...
Standing in
Parts
for
unknown.
Gary is my wig.
Yeah. And a fine wig it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's on... Is it on backwards or something?
I don't know. I'll turn it around for you. Let's see. I don't think it gets any better, though.
Yeah, it was on backwards.
It was on backwards, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad we got that straightened out.
All right. So, first of all, we want to thank you for tuning in to episode 21. We have a great show lined up for you, including including some beer from Louisiana way, and we're going to talk about the moon. We're going to talk about late night TV, and we've got our half pints picked all ready to go. So, first of all, we'd love for you guys to get a hold of us. We have our website, PNRShow.com. Our email address is PNRShow@gmail.com. We have the Twitters, Gary at AlwaysBreaking, Jeremy at Jeremy Brooks, Keith at Wolfman K, and me, Rob at REBROB. We've got a Google Plus chat room that we're in, and if you'd like an invite to us, just send us an email or a tweet or anywhere that we've just mentioned, and we'll get you included in on that. We are streaming live on Alpha Geek Radio. Hello, Alpha Geekers. We're on Channel 3. And if you're catching us on a normal podcast but would like to tune in to us live, you can find us there, tunein.alphageekradio.com. Most weeks that we broadcast were on Thursday nights.
Thursday nights are around now. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, what's
broadcast
8:30-ish. 8:30, 9 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, so whenever we feel like it. But we want to thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully you enjoy the show as much as we enjoy giving it to you. So, guys, how's the past couple of weeks been? As we've been off for a little bit. How are things going?
Busy.
Yeah?
Summer's always busy, but it's calming down.
Summers just fly by now.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I remember sitting and talking with my wife, and we were talking about weekends and things that were coming up, and things for our nephews and nieces and family members and stuff. And we're like, this whole entire summer is spoken for. It's almost like it's almost over.
Yeah. I've discovered this summer that I'm old and overweight. And the combination is making me tired and in pain. But other than that, I'm great. Thanks for asking.
You can start trying to reverse it like me.
I am actually. I'm trying to eat a little better, and the nature of my job that I've been doing the last few months has me walking about 5 miles a day on average. So
That's awesome.
the problem is my body is not prepared for that level of exercise. So
Yeah.
it's painful.
You'll get there, man. You'll get there.
My feet are hurting bad.
Hurting?
Yeah.
I went back and watched some of our first season podcasts and looked at the last couple that we did, and then you see my face is just squished down. I'm down 62 pounds.
Damn.
Boom.
That's a lot.
Damn.
My wife and I are both on the health kick, although she started a little sooner than I did and is just kicking the crap out of it. She's down like 93 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's not going to be much of her left. She better cut it out.
Yeah, very proud of her, and somewhat proud of myself. Been a little slower, a little tougher for me, but I'm getting there.
Well,
So,
they say if you can take it off slowly, it's more likely to stay off. So
it's true. So it's the marathon thing, not the sprint. So you can do it, Keith. You can do it. And good luck. But
Thanks.
enough about that. Enough about dieting and losing weight. Let's talk about beer.
Yeah,
Calories.
that's right.
Tonight, we're going to go back to an old but good friend, the folks at Abita. Abita in Louisiana, and we're going to try one of their IPAs, the Wrought Iron IPA. We've done several Abitas on the show before. Purple Haze, Turbo Dog. We've done the Strawberry.
Yeah.
We've done the Amber. Oh, man. And Abita has rarely, I would say rarely disappointed.
Yeah. Of all the brands that you go to, at least down there near Texas, that seems to be one of the more solid craft breweries. I would akin them to my Brooklyn up here.
So
That's quite a statement.
I actually picked out and sent an IPA. So, bam. And what we've got here is their Wrought Iron IPA. It's an India Pale Ale forged with the intensity of Apollo, Equinox, and Mosaic hops, brewed with pale ale malt for a golden color, as bright as iron from a fiery forge. 6.9% alcohol by volume.
Huge pineapple nose on this.
Oh yeah? Oh,
Big
So
time.
if anybody's
my
got this
favorite.
going in the background, because I know we have a huge fan base watching us live,
Yeah.
you need to make sure to tune into the video segment for Rob's tasting of this beer. Just
true.
on the smell.
You think so?
And one of these days we'll figure out how to get on Alpha Geek Video too, but I need to take the time with Mr. Whitehead to do that.
What we need is smell-o-vision.
This has
Man,
that.
this thing got a nose on it.
Whoa, oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
smells like. It smells like, to me, it smells like caramelized pineapple, or those pineapple dried pineapple
Yeah.
nuggets.
Or when you put a slice of pineapple on the grill.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
I would put it way closer to a grapefruit aroma than a pineapple, but
Oh no way! This is way strong pineapple. There's definitely that bitter citrus in there with the hops, but man,
Yeah, there is a lot of pineapple up there.
Yeah, now a
there's
lot
huge
of
pineapple. This is like pineapple upside down cake
a
pineapple.
lot of folks have attributed the success that Abita has had to the water. The impurities in the water of Louisiana, where the brewery is located. In much the same way that po' boys are only good in New Orleans because of the water that's used in making the bread, they say the same thing about the beer from Abita.
And post Katrina, it's gotten better and better.
Oh yeah, it's all churned up.
That Mississippi mud.
All
What's
right,
wrong with that?
there's a hell of a head on this thing.
Yeah, I got a pretty nice head too, but it's drinkable.
Very soapy. And yeah, that citrusy hops is coming right off.
This pineapple is making my mouth water, though. I'm gonna have to go in.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's see this. Prost. Abita Wrought Iron IPA.
Oh, I really want that to be a double.
Yeah, I only sent them the one bottle. Sorry, boys.
No, I mean a double IPA instead
Oh,
of an
double.
IPA.
Although 2 bottles would be fine too.
Although, yeah, two bottles would be fine. It's tasty.
That is an awesome beer.
I really like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go first. Usually I go last with IPAs.
Okay, go ahead.
The boys have ridiculed me over the years for my
Never.
opinions on my tendency of opinion on IPAs. I will tell you though that the Wrought Iron IPA is pretty damn good for an IPA. It's very smooth. Does that mean it's bad? Oh, Keith froze.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know. I was
froze.
trying to figure out why Jeremy was saying "uh-oh." Um,
I was just sitting still. I'm
So-
sorry.
he was intently listening. Yeah, it's very, very smooth. It's got a lot of different flavors to it. But again, like I've said so many times before, when they get it right, the hops are there, but they are not overpowering. They are not necessarily the end-all, be-all of the beer. And for wrought iron, that is very clear. And I really, as much as I don't like hops, I really do not flavor the citrusy hops. And so for this beer to have such a citrusy hop profile and yet be so smooth and easy to go down, I think speaks very well for it. I will gladly give this a 9. Yeah, it's really good.
High damn praise.
Yeah,
What did you give it? I missed that.
a 9.
9.
9. Wow. Yeah, this is really a great beer. We mentioned before pineapple on the nose. It's it is caramelized pineapple, and it has a very pineapple reminiscent aftertaste to me. Just like in the back of my mouth, it's pineapple just sitting there. This is really good.
But the roasted malt kind of peeks through too. It's not just
Yeah,
hops.
Oh, big
yeah.
time.
It's
Yeah.
not just hops. It's very well balanced, and mine is super cloudy, like an unfiltered.
Like a wheat,
unfiltered
almost,
beer.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's helping all the flavors. And this is really a great beer.
Yeah, it's quite good. What would you give it?
You know what, I'm gonna give it a 10 because there's nothing.
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with this. It is really, really good. There's nothing I want to change other than have more bottles in front of me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm upset that the rest of the bottles are other things now from your box.
But maybe
of
they're just
goodies.
as good.
I'm hoping now. Now
Yeah.
the bar's set now.
Yeah, the car box are pretty good.
So I did find a little something wanting in this, in that there's a little bit of a weak spot in the middle between the initial taste and the aftertaste, which is why I said I wanted it to be a double, not for the added alcohol content, which is always good anyway, but that tends to bring with it kind of a richness in body that I found I wanted in the middle of this, because it's so good in the front and it's so good in the back that I just wanted that middle to be there too, and it takes a little dip there. So I'm gonna give it a 9 because I believe this beer is awesome as well. But if that 1 point to make it a 10 would be, I want to try the double version of this. And Abita, please make it for me. A wrought iron double IPA, please. Thanks. Listen, I know they listen.
So somewhere, our normal scoring guy is sitting at a lake drinking beer.
Yeah, I know, what the hell.
So I
Where's
need to figure this out. Hang on. We've got
A 10, a 9, and a 9.
We've got 28 divided by 3.
30.
Should come up as 9.3.
3, yeah.
9.3
I'm
repeating.
just having trouble finding it on the charts here. Somewhere we're very organized, in case you didn't realize it, audience. And we've got everything sort of here somewhere.
There you go. You got that spreadsheet.
Yeah, I just got to dig it out here.
Yeah, so 9.3, one of the better IPAs that we've rated.
For the record, the WIG gives it a 10, so if you want to count that as Gary's.
Hey, all right. Very good. So yeah, go ahead and definitely give wrought iron IPA.
Yeah, this is really good. This is probably the best beer. It's hard to say this because you have had a bunch of good beers sent to us recently, but this is definitely the best beer I've had out of the South in a long, long time.
Really, even
Yeah.
better than the Shiner beers.
Yeah, I like the Shiners a lot. They're definitely a go-to solid beer, but this is downright fantastic.
The shipment I sent out to you guys, I just missed like the next day. Shiner put out a special prickly pear seasonal for the summer, which someone had me try. It was so good. But anyway, but back to wrought iron IPA. So 9.3.
Yeah, really outstanding.
Yeah,
Great.
really good. Really good.
Give that a try. All right, so that is it for our To the Pint segment. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to go to our topics. Our pint taken.
Wow.
Okay, can I just tell you that when I was visiting, we were visiting Nicole's high school friends in North Carolina, I had the occasion to have to go to Best Buy to pick up a stinking Apple TV remote because they always watch their pictures from when they were kids and they had them on Apple TV, but we forgot to bring the remote for some reason. So anyway, I had to go to the Best Buy to get a remote, and they had some discount Blu-rays, and one of them was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for $5 on Blu-ray, and I just watched it this past week, and it was so good.
So
I love that movie.
So can I ruin your day for a minute?
Why would this be any different? Why? Go ahead.
You know there's a free app for remote control of the Apple TV, right?
Yeah, we couldn't get it to work.
You couldn't get it to work.
Nope.
You just put your phone on the same network as the Apple TV.
Yeah, we couldn't get it to work. We
It
couldn't. But
never
the Apple
doesn't
TV,
work.
the Apple TV was on a new network in someone else's house. It was
Yeah.
our Apple TV.
Yeah, but and as long as you put your phone on that same network, it
But
would have worked.
we couldn't connect the Apple TV to the network.
Oh, then you're screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that won't work.
So I had to go out and get a remote. And then all was right with the world. But anyway, I said all that to talk about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which you just played. And it was such a freaking awesome movie. I got that and Big Trouble in Little China, $5 a piece.
Oh man, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That was a score on both cases. You said you got those on Blu-ray?
Blu-ray.
For $5 each?
Yep.
None.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. All right, so in our topic segment this week, this is actually news last week, but it bears talking about. A real-life version of a Star Trek impulse engine. We've talked before about things that are from Star Wars, or especially Star Trek, that have actually come true in real life, like iPads and cell phones, and even talk of eventually being able to have some kind of matter transport system. But travel has been one of the ones that they haven't really talked too much about. Like, we're certainly nowhere near to getting warp drive, although we did discuss that in the show a few months back. But it was about 13 years ago, or 15 years ago, a man named Roger Shire, a British inventor, came up with an idea for an impulse-driven drive called an M drive. And it was just a concept, a proof of concept thing, that scientists this week, or last week I should say, I guess have gotten back into it and say that it could work. And what it would allow you to do would be to travel to the moon in 4 hours and to Mars in less than 90 days, with not having to bring along any fuel at all. It operates on solar power that generate multiple microwaves that move back and forth in an enclosed chamber that basically propels the ship forward. So as long as you had a light source providing you with enough solar power, you could basically run and run and run until the chambers wore out.
The only problem with that is the sun gets awfully weak, awfully fast as you get away from Earth. I mean, even going as far as Mars, you get something like 1/10 of the light that we get.
But it's still enough
getting-
power to drive satellites and power Mars rovers and comp
Yeah.
things, as long as they don't
Yes.
fall into
Yes,
ditches.
it is in Mars's case. But as if you take that out to the outer rings of the solar system, it's getting real dark, real fast.
Yeah, well, that's why they only mentioned, I guess, the moon and Mars in this article, because those are the two closest objects. But can you imagine
could
being
probably
able
go
to go
closer
to
to the
Mars
sun.
and going to Mars in 90 days?
Yeah, and using it to get to Venus and even Mercury for unmanned missions would be amazing.
NASA's confirmed that it believes that it works, and this past week, Martin Tajmar, chair for space systems at Dresden University in Germany, shows that the M drive does produce thrust. You get to Mars within 70 days or Pluto within 18 months. A trip to Alpha Centauri, which would take tens of thousands of years to reach right now, could be reached in just under 100 years.
It's still a hell of a lifespan.
It sure is. But that is pretty incredible.
Still, that's second generation on the spaceship being able to get there.
That's not terrible.
No, I think that's pretty impressive. Especially given how little, basically upfront you would need in terms of you don't have to have any kind of liquid propulsion or anything like that.
I suppose once you got up to speed, if you use the inner solar system to get up to speed,
right,
and your trajectory was accurate, you wouldn't need more thrust until you got close to another star again.
Yeah, if you're pointed in the right direction, you're good, right?
Right.
And we don't know if this is the solar power, I would imagine, is charging some kind of battery. It's not a live, necessarily, transfer of power, although I don't know. But, if you were on Mars for long enough and let the battery sit and charge, who knows, you might be okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely something like that. But, I don't know, it's an interesting concept. I don't have any of my lights on. What am I doing here?
And just recently, NASA announced that it wants to try to get back to the moon by 2030, I believe.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more we can do on the moon. I doubt NASA will be the one doing it, although
no,
having them certainly head up and influence a project would be good. But
yeah, not alone. I mean, we talked about private companies being really the ones that drive pioneering in space, and I can imagine that NASA maybe being in partnership with one of those groups, like providing the know-how and the knowledge, and the private organization providing the funding.
Despite the massive setback that SpaceX recently had, they're still leading the way in technology and vision for doing a lot of this stuff and making it happen. There's a couple other space companies out there, but no one's making it happen nearly as well as they are. So,
yeah. So, I guess more to come on that. If we can all make it to 2030, maybe we'll see people back on the moon.
No guarantees.
Cross your fingers.
It's just 15 more years.
That's right. It's true.
We'll still be doing the podcast, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably
from my wheelchair.
We'll probably blow ourselves up by then. And in other news, this week marks the end of the Jon Stewart's show on the Comedy Central. And say what you want about Jon Stewart, and a lot of people could say a lot of things, but the man is very funny, and the man has changed in many ways not only our comic sensibilities. Oh, my camera's died.
I was just going to mention that.
He's changed not only our comic sensibilities, but he's also changed, in many ways, the way news is presented. So, God bless him, and I mean, it was a great, long career. You guys have much experience with Jon Stewart?
Not a fan.
I would call myself a casual fan.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart. I certainly didn't have the time nor desire to see him every day, but when I did catch him, I always enjoyed the show.
Right.
So it was solid. It was good. He did the right mix of comedy and actual news topics. I think it was good.
Yeah. My favorite was, and I'm kind of in the Jeremy camp as far as, there's not a lot that I agreed with him on, but I will tell you that he, probably more than anyone else, does a great balancing act between when people would criticize him for making commentaries on news stories, being able to walk it back and say, hey, I'm just a comedian, But then on another story where they're talking about him making fun of really serious issues, he's kind of saying, well, I'm just trying to, present the news in a more entertaining fashion. So he's very good at kind of having his cake and eating it too.
Well, he didn't. He did a good job of paving the way for people like John Oliver, which I'm a huge fan of now.
Yeah.
And
Colbert.
shows and Colbert and stuff like that. So I think he did. He's definitely needed. But he didn't. He certainly didn't perfect it. Kill me for that because there's a lot of huge fans for him, but I don't think it was nearly a perfect show as far as mixing news, current events, and comedy. I think John Oliver's got that mixed down cold. I just wish he wasn't on HBO so that everybody could see it.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I will say that latest statistics from the last couple of years have said that more people under the age of 40 get their news from The Daily Show than any other show on television.
No, absolutely. Well, it had a few things going for it. One, it was on cable, which was relatively free. It still could cross a few lines that you can't do on network TV. Kind of walk that line between news and late night comedy. And I mean, it definitely was. And I don't watch the daily news anymore. If I get to watch it once every 2 weeks, it's a big deal. But I read the web every day, and I watch videos on YouTube every day.
He was closer to a journalist than
most journalists.
Local news program.
I'd agree.
But I think local news is just a joke, and even to some extent the big networks.
But on the other side of that, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed watching The Daily Show. There wasn't a lot that I agreed with, but I enjoyed watching it. Yeah. But I will say that he has changed the way that we, I think, as a society, look at news. I think we have a much more sarcastic and I don't want to say negative, a more sarcastic, critical view, I think, of politics and social issues than we had before he got started.
Yeah, that's probably correct. And he was one of the few people that wasn't afraid to call out big news organizations on their blatant, I don't know, how do you say it nicely? Lies.
Yeah, I mean, mostly that
people,
was
people pretending to be newscasters and just pushing an agenda.
Yes, I mean let's just call it what it is. He came out against Fox a lot, but not just Fox. He would occasionally go after CNN or even once in a blue moon MSNBC or one of the other big networks, but mostly his target was fixed upon Fox. And I think
they certainly provide the most material.
Well, I mean, I would argue that all of the news networks provide a lot of good material.
Yeah.
His just happened to be focused there.
But Fox or at least Fox News in the U.S. with their they try to be more sensational to grab headlines and eyeballs. I would say more so than the others. So they tend to set themselves up for more critical analysis of them, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not going to pass judgment.
But yeah, if you looked at late night TV before Stewart and after Stewart, there's a huge change. He probably was maybe the most influential in making that change.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a leader of that kind of genre. That I mean, what essentially was a weekend report from SNL.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Took it to a daily actual news and comedy show, complete with actual news, but actual bits as well. He made it real. He took Weekend Report, which was really still a skit, made it a real thing. And like I said, he paved the way for some people that are following in his footsteps now, and doing amazing things. Which again, I can't recommend John Oliver In what's his show called? This week tonight? Last week tonight? Something like
Yeah,
that.
I think it's called Last Week Tonight.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that, it's a lot of times the clips from it are on YouTube, and you can go check it out and get most of the funny bits, and it's amazing. He's a great comedian.
It is pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, love that show. Can't recommend it enough. Should be my pick.
But in the meantime, congratulations to Jon Stewart, and he's actually at the moment not going on to anything else that we know of. He's just stepping away, which is just fine. He did do he directed a film last summer, so maybe he's going to get more into that. But
he has in the past done bit parts in movies, so it's possible he could go on to that side of the movies of the camera and
It's
acting as well.
And
I know
he lets do anything he wants.
Yeah,
he can
probably
raise
can.
and take. I mean, and the Comedy Central just threw buckets of money at him to stay, and he's just like, nope, I'm done. I guess it was exhausting. It was just that schedule was just physically exhausting, which I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, that's it for our pint taken segment and our topic roundup. But we're not done because we've got some picks for you this week. Are you ready? It's time for our half pints. Here we go. Oh, you didn't let it finish?
That's all the clip I have.
Oh.
We do the Bat-Tusi here.
The Batusi.
Yeah.
Good old Adam West. All right, so in this segment, our half pint segment, we've got picks for you this week. Apps, music, TV shows, what have you, whatever we think you should be taking a look at this week. And without Gary around, I think a couple of us may have two picks this week. I know one of Keith's will be Hearthstone. Can't wait to hear what the other one is. So we're going to start with Keith. Keith, what do you got, buddy, besides Wigs?
Besides Wigs, besides Hearthstone, which is about to release a new card set, I'm very excited, but I'm not going to talk about that tonight. First up for me, I got a website that I'm kind of interested in. I've recently been realizing that it's about time for me to trade in my vehicle and get me a new one or a new used one or a new to me vehicle, hopefully with some less years and miles on it. And we're not ready to do it yet, but it's something that's going to come up probably in the fall. And so I'm just kind of doing some preliminary research, see what's out there in our budget, and see what we might be looking at and make some decisions. And I've been drawn to the website carsdirect.com. And it's kind of a cool website if you're hunting or starting to hunt for cars, specifically when it comes to used vehicles, because they kind of aggregate all the dealers in your area, all the inventory, what the asking price is, and they will throw a little icon, a little triangle, a little green triangle that says great deal underneath it whenever the asking price is under the average asking price for that car of that age. So you can see right up front when you're already in a position to do, to get a bargain, and I think that's really cool. And they will, of course, if you click on the car, the information for that car brings up the full details as the dealer's listed it and gives you the dealer's contact information. And you can do it right from the website, or you can call them, or whatever you want to do. So they're kind of just an aggregator. I'm imagining they make their money by the dealers probably pay for the listings on there. But boy, what a great way for me to put in and check out like all the cars in a certain price range within 50 miles of me and just see what's out there. And you can do new car searches on there too. They also have articles that are really good, and they'll go through every month who has the best purchase offers and what they are, who has the best lease offers and what they are. So there's great articles on it too. I'm just really enamored with how useful a tool that is. And probably the next couple of months, I'm going to be buying something or leasing something. And dealers in the Rochester area, if your stuff isn't listed in Cars Direct, I'm probably not even going to find you. So I think I'm a fan. I'm a fan. So if you're in the market for a car, definitely check out Cars Direct.
So you're going to go with Mini Cooper? So
I would love to. Actually, it's hard to find one even used in my price range, though. Actually,
the four-wheel drive Countryman would probably do pretty well there.
I would love that. One of the things we're looking at, as people may or may not know now, I'm driving a minivan with some pretty high mileage on it, which was great for a little while. But for now, my kids are older now, and I don't need to cart around quite so much stuff. In fact, for family trips to the cottage with the dogs, if we put a roof rack on my wife's CRV, we can probably do it in that. So we are definitely considering something smaller and more gas efficient for my car coming up. And so it's kind of neat to look at. You can, like I said, you can just set a range and a price limit, and you can just look at all the used cars that are $10,000 and less in the area, and see what the good deals are.
Yeah. And before too long, his daughter will be doing the driving.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
I can't trust her with the refrigerator right now. I can't imagine trusting her with a set of keys.
Just you wait. Dad, I've got a date. Can I take the car?
No, I've already killed your date, honey. Don't worry. Go back to bed.
Wow.
We'll bury him together in the yard next to the other ones tomorrow.
Keith's going to be that kind of dad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, whoa, he just scared me a little bit there. Will you be wearing the wigs, though, is what I want to know when she shows up for the date.
Oh, anything I can do to embarrass her in front of her boyfriends will be definitely done.
Perfect.
That wig carrying a chainsaw would be terrifying.
Yeah. Well, you just come in with a sledgehammer and say, and go, Belle, have you seen my shotgun? While I'm carrying a sledgehammer, that'd be enough.
That's horrible. All right, so Jeremy wants to talk about the grand old lady, or the gray lady, or whatever she's called. The New York Times, of all things. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm not a huge fan of news. But
no, you were just talking on local news just a few minutes ago.
It's terrible. It's
news,
terrible.
Movies, television shows,
pop culture, current events.
I saw a movie last week.
What'd you see, buddy?
I saw Holmes.
Oh, the Ian McKellen movie.
The old Sherlock Holmes movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As in, Sherlock Holmes is old, not the movie is old.
Yeah,
so I saw a current movie in a theater.
How about that?
How about that? Anyway.
But that's not what you want to talk about. You want to talk about the New York Times.
No, my pick is the New York Times, and I really, really enjoy the New York Times writing. When they cover a story, they write a story. It's not a paragraph of the highlights. It's a good read. And I've really enjoyed their stuff for a long time. Back when I had a Palm Pilot, I was reading New York Times on it. But my pick this week is their New York Times Now app. And what they've done is they've taken their reporting and condensed it into really good summaries for the app. So it's not the entire New York Times. It's selected articles from the New York Times on a variety of topics. And what I really like is every morning and every evening they have a wrap-up. And you can look through headlines and figure out very quickly see what's going on and read the articles you enjoy. It also has a really cool thing called, what is it? It's like a bite-sized crossword, 5 by 5, with quick little clues in it. You can solve them in just a few minutes, and it's enough to make you think, but it's not the completely frustrating New York Times crossword that we all love to hate. So check out New York Times Now. It's a cool news app. It's not the full New York Times, but it's a quick summary of what's going on right now. Really well done.
Is it? It's not a subscription?
It's free. Completely free. Yep.
Well, that's good because I think their regular stuff is behind a paywall. So this
Yeah, I think if
Absolutely,
you
it
want
is.
access to their full reporting on everything, that's their paywall. But the New
yeah.
York Times Now app is completely free, and it's got all the headlines and the full articles behind those headlines.
Well, what's interesting about the New York Times that Keith mentioning about them being behind a paywall is pretty much today the only way you're going to hear a New York Times story is it being reported by somebody else.
Right.
Here's what the New York Times just said, because their readership has just plummeted, and many people attribute it to this paywall thing. Now, granted, if you do this paywall thing, the ads that you're exposed to on the New York Times are way cut down than regular news sites, but still. But
Yeah,
that's very cool that they give you that kind of it's like a digest version, is what you're saying.
yeah, and they're an old school, they're an old school company, but they're trying to adapt and trying to modernize. And actually, next week I'm going to pick one more thing from New York Times that is really pretty fascinating. That is one thing that they are trying to monetize, which I think they just might be able to. So that's going to be my pick next week.
Okay, cool. All right, I've got 2 picks for the week. One is an iOS app that I have been playing the heck out of, and I think it was Keith that originally recommended it to me. It is a little word game called Capitals.
Mm.
I have just grown so weary, tired of Words with Friends. I no longer play it. I just cannot get into it. But I do enjoy word games. So when I came across Capitals, I was hooked. In Capitals, you are playing against. It's not only a word game; it's a territory control game. You have your own little territory on one side of the screen surrounded by hexes, and those hexes are filled with letters. And your opponent is on the other side of the screen in a hex surrounded by letters. You can use letters from that are near on your side, touching your territory, and letters touching their territory to make words. But the only way that you expand your territory is by using letters that touch yours. So as you use them, it fans out away from your capital. Think of it kind of like a capture the flag game almost. And as you widen out, you eventually start to touch their territories and their letters, and you can start to encroach into their territory and eventually try to take their capital. It's a really ingenious game. You don't have to necessarily come up with the longest words. You don't have to come up with the most complex words. You have to come up with the most tactically strategic words.
Right.
And that's where it really kind of it took me, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a brilliant concept. The fact that you're not going for length or most words or anything like that. You're going for, you want to take the letters you need to get yourself closer to their capital.
Or get yourself out of trouble.
And whatever you can do to make a word that includes those letters are what you need to do. So that makes it a very, very interesting game. I, however, have had a ton of glitches and errors and lost games on my phone in the last 2 weeks. So
That's
the
weird.
reasons I haven't probably been up to speed on it with you is I'm very frustrated when I go into it now. And it's changed my color again, and it's changed my capital logo to a lizard for the 14th time, and and it's lost 3 of my 5 games until I start playing again, and then all of a sudden they show back up again.
That's very, very strange.
Yeah, I'm struggling with it on a stability level on my phone.
I haven't seen any of that, but I was not playing more than maybe 2 games at a time.
Yeah, there's a free version that you can get. I think you're allowed to play so many games at once, and then you can get the paid version, which allows you to play as many games as you want at one time. And I eventually got frustrated with only being able to play a few games. That I spent I think it's $1.99 for the full version.
No, it's like $5.
Oh, is it $4? Maybe it is $4.99.
Yes, it's $4.99.
Yeah. So
it's a little bit pricey for a game,
it
iPhone
is.
game, but
It is
if
a lot
you are into word games and you are looking for something different, it's probably worth every penny.
Yeah, it's very fun. So give Capitals a try. And I have a second pick. My second pick is a miniseries that actually came out at the end of last year on the Sci-Fi Network. Now, I've had major problems with Sci-Fi Network and pretty much everything they've come out with since Battlestar Galactica went away.
Except Sharknado.
No, Sharknado is horrible.
Sharknado is awesome.
Well, Sharknado 2.
But when the promos for
And 3.
But when the promos...
Sorry, Rob, you were trying to say something?
Every version gets a little better. Stiffy.
Okay, I'm muted.
When the promos for Ascension came out, a miniseries, a 3-part miniseries, I was intrigued. So I set my DVR to tape it, but I never got around to watching it. It's been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there for the longest time. And the last few days, I've been actually working from home, sitting for my dog who just had surgery. And so I'm looking at the DVR, so I'll give Ascension a try. I'm here. And I got to tell you, it was pretty darn good. The backstory of Ascension is kind of an alternative history show, which immediately grabs my attention, that supposes back in the early 60s, or the mid-60s, a huge initiative went underway to send a rocket into space with about 600 people that were going to terraform another planet. It was going to take 100 years for them to get there. So there would be 3 or 4 generations that would have to live on this thing before they got there. And the miniseries actually picks it up about midway through their journey. And there is a murder on board, which there has not been. In the entire time that the Ascension has been flying, there's never been a murder. And it kind of starts to unravel everything in their society, and they start to realize things about the program that they didn't know. At the same time, back on Earth, it's 2015, the Ascension has been gone for 50 years, and the people who are running the program also start to come unraveled at the same time, and you start to learn things about the Ascension that you didn't know. So I won't give too much away because there are lots of twists and turns in this show. And it's only 3 parts. It's like 3 2-hour movies with commercials. So it's a very quick watch. But it's good. It stars Tricia Helfer, who was the number 6 Cylon, the blonde, in Battlestar Galactica. She's very good in it. And a bunch of people that you've seen in different things, but no one that really is a big star. But give it a try. Ascension is very well worth the time.
That sounds cool. And you know what? I was looking at their website. They have this really awesome link called Relationship Tree that shows how people are related and interacting with each other. Yeah. I wish every show would do that.
Yeah. One of the things.
Are you kidding me? I want that for life.
One of the things that's great. One of the things that's great about Ascension is that it goes quite a bit into how they've had to adjust their society to being 600 people on an enclosed space. A lot of them, each successive generation had no choice to be there, and how they kind of cope with that. In the meantime, back on Earth, and this isn't really a big spoiler. It just only makes sense. Back on Earth, they've taken what workarounds these folks have come up with on Ascension and how they've improved their technology to improve technology here on Earth. Like you will see them on Ascension using very primitive forms of iPads that they basically cannibalized from parts that they had. So we took that technology that they were able to use, we're in somewhat communication with them, and because we have better resources and more modern resources, turned it into our iPads. So it's kind of cool that they actually come up with inventions that we end up using.
That's cool.
And now the the new Apple campus is actually coincidentally looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
And could be the actual Ascension.
Could be. And the great thing about Ascension is the end of it is a huge twist and leaves it primed to either come back as a second miniseries or maybe even as a limited series. It's really set up well for the next part. So give it a try, Ascension.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, guys. Any further thoughts before we close this mother out?
Beer is good.
Yeah, give Wrought Iron IPA a try
I like
for sure.
beer.
We'll hopefully be back next week with a full.
Next week, if we could do something maybe earlier in the week, it might be better. Because Thursday will be the day before I'm leaving to go to Portland, Oregon, and then the week after that I will be out.
Okay.
We can make that happen.
So if we could do a Tuesday or Wednesday next week, it'd probably be better.
All right, so thank you guys on the Alpha Geek Network for watching. Next up on Alpha Geek Radio is, what is it?
I think it's the Closet Geek Show that follows us.
The Closet Geek Show.
At 10, so in about 10 minutes.
Please send us some feedback on the show. It doesn't have to all be nice stuff. If you got some suggestions for how we can make things better, we'd love to hear from you. Or things you'd like us to try on the show, talk about on the show, beers even that you'd like us to try. We'd love to hear from you.
If you would like to send us beers, we would be happy to accept them.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy would love for you to send us beers. I'm a little less hesitant. I'm more hesitant about that.
And we will even work it out so that if you just want to send beers, you can just send it to whoever's closest, and we will distribute for you. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So from everyone here at the Planet of No Return show, we're signing off for the evening. Thanks very much for listening, and of course, as always, drink more beer.
I'd rather have lager than lie. I'll take the strong stout over stride. I prefer to confer with a half pint of ale than live a long life till my private parts fail. For life without liquor is to no avail. So bring me lager for mine. I'd rather have lager than lie. I'll take the strong stout over stride. I prefer to confer.
I have no words of wisdom this week. I have no clothes. I don't. I'm sorry. It's Keith's wig is really just distracting me. Just look at it. Look at his head. Look at his big bulbousy furry head.